Hello again, everyone. This is Joe, and in this stock review video, I'm going to take a look at two Dow Industrial stocks that have really been driving the Dow Industrials over the last 2 years, Boeing and Caterpillar. So stay tuned. All right, let's start off here with Boeing first, and this is the daily chart of Boeing, and this is actually intraday. Right now, it's about 1:40 in the afternoon Central Time, so we've still got an hour and 20 minutes left in the trading day. Boeing is up $9.73 today, and it's helped driving the market. The market's up, Dow's up 280 points right now. So this strong trend continues. This stock is extremely overbought. When we look at the RSI, and I use a 10-day RSI, when I look at it, it is close to the level back over here in late July, at which point Boeing stalled out for about a little over a month, okay? Now, it didn't decline, it didn't pull back, but in this case, it did stall out. So, I think we are extended. I mean, there's no doubt we're very extended, and you can just look at a lot of charts, and they're all showing the same way. I really don't see any strong, very short-term divergence in here. Other than that, not really seeing it like, you typically do, and it shows up when you get above 70 or below 30 for divergences many times. But this is the strong trend that Boeing's been in. It has been amazing since this low back here in February 2016. I've got a low close here. Let's see, what was it? 108.63, 108.44, and here we are at 344. So we're talking up over triple in the price move in the last 2 years. So that's very, very strong. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. And the interesting thing is we are starting to get, I believe, some divergence now. No, we're not getting divergence. I guess the point I wanted to make in here is the strength of being overbought. The RSI, again, it's a 10-bar RSI. This is a weekly chart. It is at like a 94 reading. Now I've got 94.33, given where we're at intra-week this week right now. The Boeing has never, in 37 years of history, going back to 1980, you can just scan back to 1980, this line that I put in here has never been touched in 37 years, okay? So here's the data, 1980, here's the entire move of Boeing on a weekly chart. We are more overbought than we've ever been in the last 37 years. Now, typically, when I see that on a daily chart, and sometimes on a weekly chart too, and I see it into the 80s, the low 80s down here, that type of thing, I usually say, well, that's usually an indication of a strong trend that's kind of kicking off. You don't automatically sell it just because it's gotten above 70 and it's got a high reading. But this is what I would call atmospheric reading. I mean, on the edge of space reading kind of thing. I mean, we're up here 94. I mean, that's just incredible. We're in territory that the stock has never been in the last 37 years. Now, here's a little bit of a trend channel that I created for the weekly chart. And you can see, based on this channel, it looks like it is definitely, just like on the Dow Industrials, we're overshooting the top of the channel. We're definitely getting it to an extreme. Now, one other perspective I'll give you, and I'm going to move on to CAT, is if we were to change it, everything is semi-log on this chart. So it keeps everything in proportion, okay? And the trend lines I've got in here is a 10 exponential, 21 simple. And so if you were to convert this to an arithmetic chart, watch what it does. Okay, now, do you think we're going a little vertical? I mean, in this chart, all the numbers are equally spaced, okay? And a lot of folks, have a tendency to just keep this kind of a chart. I don't really care for that, but it does drive home the perspective that the stock has really, really gone vertical in here. Some people call this an Eiffel Tower type pattern, and many times when you get this type of action, it just reverses back down in the same type of direction. And you can scan back and look at times where it's had the tendency to go vertical like this, and then it it has a tendency to retrace too. So this is the pattern. Here's what's going on with Boeing. Let's take a look. I'm going to take it back to semi-log because that's where the thing I like about semi-log is that it really keeps the waves, keeps the movement in proportion so that you can see the formation much clearer. 1 inch down here is equal percentage-wise to 1 inch up here. Points are naturally different. Let's take a look at Caterpillar on a daily chart to start. Very similar type trend. This is a 55 simple, 21 simple, 10 exponential is what I use. And so the same kind of thing that's happened here with CAT. Has it really, let's just pick $61. Yeah, this is almost tripled. So Boeing has exceeded it percentage-wise in terms of the return in the last 2 years. But in terms of kind of going hyperbolic and you know, really stretching to the upside here, very, very similar type pattern. Let's take a look. We are seeing a little bit of, well, not a little bit, I mean fairly significant divergence from the October high in here into the highs that we're hitting right now. And again, where are we hitting? We're hitting up here around 90. But I did the same kind of thing with CAT on the weekly chart, and you'll see that a similar type pattern is showing up. When you look at the RSI, I put the RSI that it hit last week at the close of last week was 95.94. And I believe if you scan back, this stock has never touched that area in 37 years of trading, okay? It is more overbought now than it has ever been on a weekly basis in 37 years. So there's a lot of extremes that are starting to happen right now. I don't need to go into the whole cyclically adjusted price earnings ratio I've talked about numerous times. But right now, this is definitely showing that type of an extreme. Let me see if I can. This chart doesn't show the channel as well as Boeing does. Okay, now you can still draw a trend line in here from these lows like the 1991 and the 2008 low in here. Actually, the 2009, March 2009 low. Interesting thing, Boeing really outperformed Caterpillar into the late 90s from 1980, and you could see that even as of like right in here at the beginning of 1980. If you go out 11 years, 1991, I mean, the stock was trading below where it began the 80s at. So it really, the company was really struggling throughout the 80s, hard to get any momentum. And then all of a sudden in the 90s, it kicked off, and it's been trending higher ever since. And of course, over the last 2 years, it's just, you know, taken off like a rocket. So that, and then if you do the same type of thing, if you look at it on an arithmetic scale, you're going to see the same kind of pattern show up in terms of going vertical. And you can see it's kind of done some of that before, but yeah, it's pulled back very sharply. Once it gets, it's really, really hard to maintain that kind of trajectory in terms of stock prices. So actually, I don't want to go back to daily. I want to go to keep it on weekly. I want to go back to semi-log. That's where semi-log is the default where I keep all of my charts, both daily and weekly. And that many times what I'll do is when I'm looking at a weekly chart, I look to see where does a trend channel show up better on a semi-log or a weekly, and I'll look at both of them just to kind of get a perspective in terms of any kind of trend channel. But this is the pattern. Here's what's going on. We are at you know, fairly historic overbought readings both on Caterpillar and Boeing. And you know, Boeing was up big today. Caterpillar today is actually, I think, down a little bit. See if I can get a current reading. CAT is actually down 35 cents today, and that's with about an hour and 10 minutes to go. All right, hope you found that video, this video helpful. If you did, please give it the thumbs up, and remember to share the video. And if you would like to get more insight, trade ideas, and education, become an insider member. Head on over to my website, click the image on the screen, and check that out. Everyone have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you on the next video.